Akash.
I hope, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So thanks once again. Should we begin?
I think, shall we start, Mohan?
Yeah, I think so. I saw Ganesh has also joined. Yes.
Okay.
Shankar is not there, but
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Shankar is also there.
Yeah, we can go ahead. Yes.
Ganesh, I think we will first start with Ganesh. Ganesh, can you
Yes.
start this session, please?
Yes.
Excuse me, Ashokji, we have joined Mr. Pradeep Pant, who is a finance startup, business developer, commercial digital growth. He's a group director. He also joined with us.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome.
Ganesh,
Good evening, Mr. Girish. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Just a second. I'll. Okay. Great. Okay, so we shall begin. Hi, I'm Akash. I'm the founder and CEO of Filmnus. It is a B2B SaaS-based learning experience platform out of India, and we have been handling clients across the UAE, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and in India. So, what makes me take this particular session? So, if we talk about blockchain and cryptocurrencies, so these are very you can say emerging topics, and the real life application has been taken started taking up. Now, if we talk about those, so I give a basic introduction about myself. So I am Akash. I completed my bachelor's and master's from in technology from IIT Bombay. I am a serial technology entrepreneur. I have previously built and sold a startup in health tech and called Med to 1mg.com. You might know 1mg.com from India. So we have sold it. Now, I've worked in IoT, healthcare, fintech, and real estate tech and the deep tech as well. So with that experience, I got an early understanding of the basics of blockchain, and I have been into it for 5 years in the crypto since 2016. So by the way, I'll be sharing after this session. I'll be sharing the link for this particular doc, so that here is a link. So you may if you have any questions even after that, or you want to connect, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. So what is blockchain? So blockchain technology, if I started talking about all those tech words, so it might go bit haywire, because I can understand, like, initially it was pretty much overwhelming for very detailed tech guys as well. So without getting into a lot of technology, so first of all, let's understand the core reason why it is required today. So, yes. So rather than getting directly into cryptocurrencies and their buying and selling and the prices, so we need to understand the core concept of it. So how do we know that anything is fake or legit? So any dollar bill or any license or the voter ID card.
How do you find a fake or legitimate?
Yes. So we see that everything is linked with their unique ID number. And that unique ID number is managed by the central authority. That is the common thing across all of these. So these are managed by the central authority. So, but what happens when the central authority is again broken into parts? So for I am taking about my example. So I am from Rajasthan and I reside in Maharashtra, Pune. So okay. So I had like
Akash, 1 minute. Sorry for interrupting, Akash. 1 minute. Can I request the host to please mute all the audios, please? Can all the members mute their audios, please?
There is only one person who is not mute, which is, I think, Mr. Shivakumar Tangaraja.
Yeah, please request Mr. Shivakumar.
Okay, go ahead. We are okay now. You also muted, unfortunately. Please unmute and come.
Okay. So whenever you want to ask any questions, so in that case, you can just unmute yourself and come back. However, we request all of the members to please mute themselves so that we can take up. Now, so I was talking about two voter IDs. So I had two voter IDs, Rajasthan and Maharashtra. It should not be possible, but it was. And because of the central authorities again. and licenses and PAN card. So for example, one of my friends, so he had certain date of birth on the PAN card and certain date of birth on the license. He got his license in the age of 13 years. So why did that happen? Because of that 2000 rupees his father paid the bribe for the getting the license. So those are the, you know, lot of corruptions and lot of things happen when there is, these powers are centralized, because when there is centralization, there is certain power held by certain authority, and if that authority gets corrupted on the on the mindset, so in that case it is bound to happen. So for example, if we talk about financial corruptions, I am taking a couple of names. So 2008 financial corruptions, so billions of dollars were transacted and published, like, created, new dollars were created in case of 2008, and nobody had the idea, and nobody knew that where did they came from, and where did they go ultimately. So it was a big, huge crisis, and that created trouble for a lot of average people. Similar thing was scam 1992 in case of India, and that happened, both of these things and most of the corruptions happen when someone decides to change the records, and someone tries to come find the flaw and change something according to them, according to their interest rather than the public interest. So ultimately there is no trace that what happened. In case of information, if I talk, so this is what I talked about, the financial corruptions. If I talk about the information corruption, so previously encyclopedia was the central source of the information, which had 100 editors, full-time editors, and a few contributors. However, it got decentralized, that you can see from the logo as well, and you have used Wikipedia, you and anyone can upload the information over there, and other people can verify and recontribute. So now 150,000 active contributors are there on the platform, and that is why we see the world of knowledge opening up for all of us. So it is just like how internet was in 2000, blockchain is going to be in the future. So why I say so? So if we talk about digitalization, so internet was made to be decentralized. Like, internet was initiated with the fact of making it democratic. But the thing is, internet, while it enabled us in a lot of ways, there are a lot of ways in which it is creating troubles as well. So you can see that Facebook, Zuckerberg going to court day in, day out. So lot of lawsuits and everything is filed up. But again, if we see in second part, like if we think from the other perspective, so they just give the fines. They don't talk about bribes. They talk in terms of the fines. But ultimately, what happens? Ultimately, they win. Ultimately, Zuckerberg win. Ultimately, Facebook wins. So what about the general public? Ultimately, that it is lost. So what is blockchain technology? Ultimately, again, coming back to the same question, what is blockchain technology? So thus, it is the solution to the centralization. And how is that? So previously it was managed by the central database, which had a lot of power, and it was held by a certain authority which held a lot of power, because it was serving to the people, just like that. For example, banks. So if I want to transact with, let's say, Ashok in Sri Lanka, so in that case, I have to go to my bank. They will transfer to maybe, there are like a lot of RBI compliances, then there are Sri Lankan compliances, and then the bank is, it is transferred to the bank. And in all of this system, there is huge chunk of money gets lost and taken by the banks and all of that. However, with blockchain, it is something of that sort. If you guys are very experienced, and those people in 40s and 50s, so you can understand that in the previous times, everyone wrote those ledgers, that okay, you took money from me, you took money from me. So we had a common ledger, that okay, this is the one. But if we go on the larger society, it was not possible. So that is why the banks came up. So now, again, going back to the traditional system, but in a more structured and more organized and a more secured way. So that is why the advent of blockchain. So for example, if I want to transact with you, or if I want to send some money to Ashok, so in that particular case, I can directly send the money to Ashok, and that particular, the core technology can make it secured. So all the intermediaries have been removed. So now you might ask that, okay, why is the government coming in between and always saying that, okay, we are banning the crypto, and or why are big corporates coming up and sometimes saying that, okay, crypto is bad and crypto is, it is not good or something like that. So these are all FUD. That is, those are like fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Yeah. So that is what we call in the, that is a term in crypto. So what happens when, if government legalize the cryptocurrency today? So a lot of businesses will be lost. So why government legalize the, you can say, why government legalize the alcohol and not marijuana? So, and in US, it is coming up. So because they lose a lot of business. If all these banks, they will lose all these businesses. So that is why there is a lot of coming up, and also it is for the good as well, because again, you don't know that who is going to transfer the money for what purposes. So a lot of the regulations need to come up. So that is good part that government is coming in as well. Now, if I talk about, if we move to the next topic, so if I talk about what are the requirements to run a blockchain technology, for example, before the talk, so Gautam was discussing and other people were discussing that, okay, is there a way to transact money, right? I can buy the Bitcoin or I can sell the Bitcoin, but is there a way I can transact, me to you? Yeah, that only happens when I accept that particular coin or you accept the particular coin. So just as an example for Indian people, so there is that 10 rupees coin. So 10 rupees coin is, a lot of places are there in which that 10 rupees coin is not accepted, and they just return back and they say that, okay, we are not accepting that. So in that case, the 10 rupee coin is just a metal, piece of metal. It is not a currency. It doesn't remain a currency anymore when that happens. So with that, adoption is required. So if I transact with you, so you must accept, I must accept that, okay, this is certain form of value that it holds. Okay, so requirement to run a blockchain technology. So you can start the blockchain, or I can start the blockchain, or anyone can start the blockchain, but what is the core base? So there are 4 core bases. So one is that peer-to-peer network. So there should be we should be able to create a peer-to-peer network in which we can transact. Second, there should be certain cryptography. So certain level of, there are like a lot of good people as well as a lot of, hackers. So in each of the cases, it should be encrypted. Everything should be encrypted. And that is why the cryptography comes in. A third is, it should have some certain consensus algorithm. So what does consensus algorithm mean? So that means, for example, we are on a chain like blockchain, and we are transacting in its side, inside it. So in that case, we should define certain rules, right? For example, as how bank applies certain rules. So that is how there should be certain rule. So proof of importance, proof of work, proof of activity, proof of stake. So in case of Bitcoin, for example, the mining comes in. So whoever puts in a lot of work. So for example, as Elon Musk recently said that, okay, Bitcoin will not be Bitcoin is not a good currency because there is a lot of work goes in, a lot of energy goes in. So going on apart from the political side, but that focusing on that part, how energy goes into it. So it is just like how gold is mined, right? It is to get a piece of gold, so you must have a lot of mining and a lot of cost involved with that, and that is why the gold is valuable. And it is, again, like, why is gold valuable? Because it is limited. It cannot be printed just like paper currencies, so, or fiat currencies, rupees or Sri Lanka rupees or something like that. So it is not possible. So proof of work is that whoever puts in the work, in this particular case, it is not physical mining, but it is digital mining. So it is the work comes in the format of hash power or the computation power. So that is why the like lot of mining pools and all those things. So we can discuss in the later part or in the later session, but that is how it happens. Proof of stake is something that who is holding the more coins. So in that case, that is something who has gotten the value. Then fourth thing to manage the blockchain technology, to run the blockchain technology. So one is peer-to-peer network, cryptography, consensus algorithm, and the fourth thing is the punishment and rewards. So we must define a rule. For example, if certain individual gets the work out of improves the currency and all of that, so in that case it should be rewarded. And if somebody has tried to do anything wrong, so in that case there should be certain punishment. So both of the things are on the human psychology based, and they're rewarded as well as they are taken, all the money is taken back from them as a punishment and rewards. Now these were the four major technical points, but the most important thing is the market adoption. So you cannot expect, for example, we made a blockchain and we are like 30 people or 40 people, right? But it is not, the blockchain is not completed. Ultimately, that particular coin is not completed because it might happen, it is just like how we make these statistics or any analysis. So it is possible to make a good analysis only when we have good data, like good amount of data. So just like that, we need to have good, lot of people to adopt. So previously when it started, a lot of till, since 2009 till 2017, there was not a lot of adoption. However, a bit of waves in 13 and all of that happened. But market started adopting in 2016 and 2017. But later on, again, so it goes above the, how, you come from the finance side. So when it is like on the very higher side, so in that case, the price has to correct. So there is price correction, and then there is time correction over here. After a while, there is another wave. So everything moves in waves. So it is not something that, okay, ye crash ho gaya, khatam. Now, like it doesn't work in that manner that it has crashed and it is over. It is gonna bounce back. It is gonna bounce back, but it might take a time. It might take certain time or something like that, but we might not know when. But again, in that case, the understanding of the investment versus trading comes in. So if you are looking for the long term, so in that case, it is certainly profitable. In the short term, we do not know, as Warren Buffett says, that we do not know that market will go up or down in a week, in a month, or in a year. But we certainly know that in 10 years from now or 15 years from now, it is going to go up, because that is how the it moves in waves, and ultimately it goes up. So just like that, blockchain is certain revolutionary technology. For example, if today you were asked that today, for example, 20 years back, some intelligent people like yourself, if you had an option to invest in Google, Facebook, Amazon, and you knew that they are going to change the lives, so in that case you would. In today's time, for example, people like yourself, so you do angel investing, for example, for some certain times for the startups. So in that case, you see that, okay, this company has got the future. So you think from that perspective, and that is how the early adopters comes in. So it is just like that. My motive to take this workshop or take a lot of workshops like this is to make people realize that, okay, this is the something from the future, and we should not miss it, because people from the Indian origin or from nearby origins, so we have lost a lot in term. We are much behind the US and the Western countries in terms of the internet, because we picked up very late. Like we picked up in 2000s, we started it in 2007, 8 or 9, the real adoption. However, in case of US, so adoption started in 1995, 1996. So we are whole 17, 18 or 20 years back. So we should not miss on this particular thing. And we should understand that, okay, what is the core technology? Even if we don't understand, we should read. There are like a lot of resources. We should talk to right people. And ultimately, there should be a vested interest, so that, for example, if you only talk and talk, ultimately nothing is going to come out. If you are vested, for example, if you buy certain coins or invest or maybe trade, so in that case, you have got certain interest, and ultimately you decide to learn about it as well. And ultimately you get an idea that, okay, this is the future. And maybe 5, 6 years from now, or 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you might, if you don't do it today, 20 years from now, I'm definite that you will, mark my words, so you will be regretting that, okay, 20 years back, maybe somebody said, then even Akash said, and then we knew from the news but we did not understand that technology, and ultimately we were not the early adopters. We are the laggards. So initially these are the early adopters, then comes the mavericks, and ultimately those come the laggards. So when the laggard situation comes in from 10 years from now, time will be very late. Why? Because ultimately there would not be a lot of profits to be made. It will be like just like how stock market is today. So you might make 20% or 30% in a year or something like that, but it is not going to happen that you are earning 15x, 20x, 30x, those kind of returns. And I have personally made these kind of returns a couple, two times, in the last wave, in this wave, as well as in this wave. So I can, with the assurity, say the particular that I entered into in 2006, entered in 2016 in taking 15,000 rupees, and after a while I also entered again another 15,000 rupees, so 30,000 rupees, and by this point I had 8 lakh rupees in my wallet. And by taking other currencies as well, obviously, like you have to get very deep into it. So I'm talking very small in numbers as compared to you guys, obviously. These are like five, you might not care about 15,000 or 8 lakh rupees, but you can definitely do your research and put in more money and ultimately get the bigger outcomes. So now,
Yeah, Akash, I
somebody
had a
say?
question.
Please.
Hi. In the section above, right, where you mentioned for punishment and rewards.
Yeah.
So in that, I thought the transactions are irreversible. So how do you punish someone after the fact or reward them
Okay.
after the transaction is done?
Okay. So in case of, for example, mining, when you're like mining, every block has certain rewards. And for example, in case of Bitcoin, every 4 years, the reward is half. So previously it was like 25 Bitcoin for a piece of block to mine a piece of block of the information. That was it. Now, after a while, it went to 12.5. After a while, 6.25. So that is how the rewards are worked. In case of and every consensus algorithm work, have certain different possibilities of rewards and punishments. In case of punishments, I am also not very sure, because I have not seen personally in terms of the fraud. But yes, there are certain when we write algorithms, so in that case you can write that, okay, this if this is the condition, so this should happen. If this is the condition, this should happen. So if there are any discrepancies, so blocks, if blocks are mismatching, so in that case, entire system goes back and all the blocks money is taken back. So that is what my wild guess is. But I am still, like, I would say that you do your own research in this particular part. Anyways, good question.
Thanks.
Okay. So having said that, now we need to understand that, okay, if we want to get into the cryptos, so what are the top currencies and what are the bases ultimately to buy and to understand? So for example, the first one is the Bitcoin, traditional one, Bitcoin. We, around a year back or around 2 years back, you might have heard about Bitcoin, but not about, might not have heard about cryptocurrencies or the blockchain, because Bitcoin became the famous one. And Bitcoin is something which is like, it is like, when it comes to blockchain or when it comes to crypto, so people start, often compares, difference between blockchain, cryptos and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is one of the first, it is the first coin in case of crypto, which was launched by a unknown personality called Satoshi Nakamoto in 2009. And that was based on the work of years of the blockchain technology of 1994. So in 1994, it was first, that particular technology was discussed. And in 2009, the real life implementation began, and Bitcoin was released. Like, not released, it was in the initial phases, it was released to be mined and for the public users. So you might ask that, okay, what are you talking? Like, I understand in terms of money, I don't understand all of that tech stuff. Okay, so if I ask, if I simplify it, in 2009, if you had invested a 1 lakh rupees sum, so today it will be 500 crore rupees sum and you could take it out and you can use it. So that is the kind of market we are talking about. And early adopters have certain advantages, just like US had in case of internet. Now, to understand the basics about Bitcoin, so it is somebody again who said that okay, it cannot be transacted. Bitcoin certainly can be transacted, and I'm talking with my experience. I have transacted with other people in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of for the freelancing and for the for you can say consulting kind of works. So yes, Bitcoin can be transacted, but the transaction is very slow. It takes time, and there is a good amount of fees involved with that because it is a slower thing, which was in the initial phase. But why is Bitcoin famous? Then there are better technologies I'll be discussing. But why is Bitcoin famous? Because it was, first of all, it was the first mover. Second, it is again, like, as a market. So there is huge dominance in the market. So if we talk about dominance, so 40% of the 40% till 80%, it moves by the time, but that is the percentage of the market cap of the entire crypto is with Bitcoin. So it is not going to go away. It is capped to 121 million coins. So it is not something that it is um, um, like it is just like how it can be, paper notes or fiat currencies are printed. It cannot be printed just like that. So it is anti-inflation. It is not, by the time, why paper currencies lose their value? Because they're getting printed. So more and more is coming to the market. So ultimately they're losing their value. So this particular thing, this is just like digital gold. As gold is gonna get the value in the longer term, it is just like the same. Bitcoin is gonna get the value in the longer term because it is getting tough to get any more Bitcoin because the rewards have been halved every 4 years, and then again, so market adoption has been going up. So that is why. So it is more of store of value. You don't go to sabji wala, you don't go to any vegetable shop and just buy a 1 kg of carrot for, let's say it is for 40 rupees. So in that case, you don't buy it for, let's say, piece of gold. Okay, le itna sa le le. It doesn't happen like that. So no, you don't go and you don't just give the piece of gold to for buying. You just transact with 40 rupees because that is how it is simplified. But does the gold lose its value? No, it does not. It is the store of value. You store it. So next comes the Ethereum. So if that was the case, so in that case, how can I actually get into the real world of the blockchain? So Ethereum is the first platform, or you can say first coin. Ethereum is a technology, by the way. Ether is the currency or the coin. So Ethereum, on the Ethereum technology, you can make the smart contract. So for example, you want to build today's Ola or Uber, or if you want today's Amazon or Flipkart. So you could make your own consensus on top of Ethereum, and you could manage your smart contracts and ultimately launch a token, right, on top of Ethereum. So there are like a lot of tokens and currencies on coin market cap. So that is important thing to understand while I'm talking about the coins. So you after this, so I'll be talking about coin market cap, where you can check the all the currencies and their values and all of that. So it is currently proof of work. Again, it is mined just like how it used to be, but it is moving to proof of stake. So that's when the Ethereum 2.0 coming up. So you might have seen that Ethereum gained a lot of popularity in this particular wave and a lot of value. So that is because it is moving to POS soon. It has not moved to POS yet. So it is supposed to go up a huge, big time. ERC20 and ERC20 protocol. So they use a protocol called ERC20, but again, new protocols are coming up. Yes. So and third one. So third one is Cardano. Cardano is similar to Ethereum. It is just a platform token, platform coin, wherein, for example, Bitcoin was talked as digital gold, more of store of store value. Second was the Ethereum, which was for the smart contracts, but Cardano and IOTA, like this is the core technology. So these are more of proof of stake. These are on the proof of stake. So they work on the scalability, very much scalable, very fast. Interoperability it focuses on. So it can work with other blockchains as well. It is not something that okay on the top of blockchain only Cardano blockchain you can work, and it is sustainable. So the development is sustainable. Similar is the Polkadot, and they have it is very similar, but it is focusing on the again securities a lot, and it is focusing on the they have very good early you can say partners. So a lot of early partners and real case scenario they are using. So that is why it is pretty good to have. And the most important, which is very important, is you might ask that okay, I get into the world of crypto, but I don't want my money to just fade away right away. I entered with 20 lakh rupees today, and tomorrow I get up and I see that it is 3 lakh rupees. So yeah, it might happen, but how can you save it? So you should always keep that some amount in terms of the USDT. USDT is the USD tether. So it that what does that mean? So it is pegged to USD, like US dollar, as $1. So it is just like how Dubai's let's say sorry UAE AED, like AED currency is linked to USD. So I guess what is the conversion? I guess 2.67 or something like that. So just like that, USDT is tethered. So you are not going to lose the money. Your money will be kept in the terms of very pegged to USD. So that is how you can save the money and ultimately get into the market. For example, if today I had to buy Bitcoin, so I will have to go to from INR I'll have to move to the exchange and ultimately try move it to BTC, and there will be a huge gap. But if you transact it to directly USDT, you will have certain USDT and ultimately keep it as the base rather than keeping INR or something like the base. So that way you save a lot of money when having a lot of trades. So yeah, here are other currencies or tokens which are having different use cases. While we have shortage of time today, so I'll not be discussing all of that, but you should certainly do your own research in this particular case. These are like very amazing tokens and amazing use cases, and in future we might see a huge jump in these currencies or tokens. Okay, so how can you invest or trade? Ultimately, that was the core of blockchain and mining, or top coins and top tokens. But how can you actually invest and trade in the real life? So there are two good platforms in case of Indian users, because Indian users are here. So they can use CoinDCX. CoinDCX is a good platform, is an amazing platform over there. And here is you can use my referral as well. And in case of Binance, so in case of the if you are in Sri Lanka or in the other countries, so in that case Binance is the international platform, and you can transact in most of the currencies. So you can buy in any of the currencies, and again, so this is create your free account from here and start transacting from there itself by depositing certain money, for example $1,000 or $500, or you can initiate with $10 as well. So it is not something that there is a minimum limit or something like that. So yeah, so any important point is to get into the market and start trading or start investing, rather than just having to speculate by talking and ultimately analyzing that okay, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go down. So those who are into the market, so yeah, there might be some losses, but losses are only captured when you sell or exit the market, right? If you have certain let's say today you buy Reliance share, stock market is pretty up, and I don't know why it is so much like that. So no PE or something like that. So that is a very different thing. But if you buy Reliance today, let's say 10 shares, so 2,000 rupees, I guess one share. So 10 share, 20,000 rupees, and tomorrow it goes down to 1,000 rupees. Stock market crashes and it goes down to 1,000 rupees or 800 rupees or something like that. So if at that time you sell, you will be making losses of 1,000 into 10, but difference into the number of shares. But if you hold it and if you wait for the longer term, and if you buy at that time even more, so in that case, in the long term, for 10 years or for the 20 years, so in that case, or even for 5 years or 6 years, so it doesn't stay long. So all the downfalls and all of those things don't stay long. And ultimately you have seen, you just think about it. When we were talking about, like before the call, people were talking about that, okay, is it gonna go up anymore, or is it like finished? Because we have seen, we saw that there was a peak in around a month back, or around 15 days back, but now we see that there is a huge fall that has come up. So yeah, there is a huge fall, but ultimately it might go just like haywire for a while. But if you see in the longer term, so in the 4 years time from now, it is, if you think from the fundamental perspective, it is certainly gonna be much more than this. And the market is just starting up, and these small waves won't be even seen. So it is just like how the wave you can see in 2013. So there was a this is like difference of $1,000 as well as, and $100 and $1,000. So it was at $1,000, but you don't realize it over here, because in the longer term, if you even had bought for $1,000, or if you had bought for even at the peak in 2017 and and bought for let's say 19,000 or $20,000. So even then you will be making a lot of profit in the long term. So it is gonna go up and down in waves, but on the longer term, it is gonna go up. That is, again, I am not a financial advisor, so this is not that is a disclaimer I want to give. So no financial advisor. Do all the your own research, and ultimately invest or trade according to your capacity to lose the money, or capacity of taking the risk. So, but yeah. So okay. By the way, we also have a closed crypto community on WhatsApp if you want to join. So I'll be sharing this particular link. Just a second. On the chat itself.
Hello, hi, this is Ganesh here. Thank you, Akash, for joining us. This is the Hindu Economic Forum Sri Lanka chapter, and we have many members of our chapter who has joined, and we have also some guests who have joined from outside the country. Let me just put the video so in case somebody wants to see who's talking. I think I'm looking all right. Okay. Hi.
Yeah, you're looking.
So welcome all of you who have joined this. I mean, I should have welcomed beforehand, but you started off very well, because that's the most important thing. So thank you for joining in good numbers. We have about 26 participants, and we have some guests from outside the Sri Lanka chapter of the Hindu Economic Forum. And one of the objectives of the Hindu Economic Forum is to make wealth for the community. And here is probably an opportunity which we should not go unnoticed. Of course, any investment that we put our money in, it is with our own risks and own decision we should go. So I would like to also put the disclaimer that the Hindu Economic Forum is not responsible for any of your investments or whatever. But at this time, this is something that's very, very interesting and very important that we understand and learn. And thank you, Akash, for coming forward, and thank you, Ashok, for bringing Akash to this forum. And I'll open the floor for questions. If anybody wants to ask, please go ahead and do so. And I will give our friend Dilip, who is with me, who has lots of questions to start with.
Okay,
Hi,
Akash, hi, my name is Dilip. I'm with Ganesh now. So because we stay in the same building, of course, we are in lockdown situation because we stay in the same building, we are together. My first question to you is, who controls the this Bitcoin or cryptocurrency?
You, I, and everyone. So whoever owns the crypto owns it.
We
There is a lag, Dilip.
yeah. So who controls it? Yeah, my question is
Okay.
still the same.
Okay. So yeah, first of all, no one controls it. It is the again how the democracy how the democracy is. So democracy is something wherein it is power by people for people and to for the people. So it is just like that. It is democratized thing. It is a democratized technology, so that no one person or no central authority controls it. Ultimately, technology, there is a certain rules and regulations we have defined on the base layer of the technology, and now everyone is served by the technology with those base layers and base rules which we defined in the initial time. So anyone can contribute to these projects. So for example, we were talking about, let's say you had a good question. So let's talk about, for example, Polkadot. So I go and I search Polkadot over here, and I go to CoinMarketCap, let's say this, and I can see that what is the source code of Polkadot, and you can go and contribute over here in this foundation, or let's say we're talking about any of the coins. So let's say Cardano, we were talking about ADA. So you can go again and see the source code on GitHub and like contribute. So these are the base. This is not this is just the source code. Ultimately, you can contribute as a technology person, but ultimately it is defined by the base rules and it is open in the public. And for every blockchain, so there are explorers. So if you want to see that what is going on in the base, so you can explore. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. My next question is now, let's say a dollar or a rupee is controlled by as you said, a central authority. Like Sri Lankan is controlled by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. India is controlled by RBI, XYZ. And there's something controlled, even the shares, like you mentioned of Reliance, is controlled by a authority. Same way, even gold. Even if somebody in India or anywhere in the world mines the gold, let's say today in my house, I have a house, and suddenly from my ground I get gold, and the government will come and seize it and it becomes government property. They might pay me for my land or something extra, but it becomes government property. In case of cryptocurrency, who is the central authority?
Okay. So there is again no central authority. That is the beauty of it. There is it is completely decentralized. It might be hard to believe because that is the conditioning we have been always grown, because somebody controls something. If there is certain thing which we believe, so there is certain common ground on which everyone controls. So just imagine, Ganesh, you or Dilip, you were in a village, let's say 20 years, 30 years back from now, before this. So everyone used to, take money or, borrow money from everyone. And there were not any banks or something. So who controlled that? So nobody controlled that. Every person controlled that, because it was I who could vote, you who could vote, and let's say 15 people who could vote. Let's say there is a transaction in Hindu Economic Forum, or let's say there is certain rules you have made. So as you had defined, for example, this is, we have not, you said that there is a disclaimer that we don't hold any chance, or we don't recommend that, okay, taking of the cryptocurrency. So these are just the basic baseline rules. So you just set the baseline rules in the technology and ultimately release it. And as I told, like this, so requirement to run a blockchain technology. So these computers, these cryptography, these ultimately algorithms. So consensus algorithm, not algorithm, consensus algorithm that I and you approve, and ultimately punishment and rewards. But the most important thing is the market adoption. So as more people comes in the chain, so these are the blocks on which the data is stored, and you can say that I'm carrying the ledger, you are carrying the ledger, and everyone is everyone's ledger is synchronized. Yeah.
No, the question is, no, I think that question is still not answered. Sorry to, like, for example, when you said the village panchayat, if I was in a village, the panchayat guy, the guru, somebody will control it. If he ran away, my money is finished. Same way in HEF, let's say we have a HEF forum of 70 people. It's an example, okay? Shankar and Ganesh are controlling it. Tomorrow, if Shankar and Ganesh go missing, we are gone. Then we'll be haywire. Even in a normal forum, forget about cryptocurrencies and anything. My question is, what now if my dollar if my rupee will never go anything, it can devalue because of the market conditions, but that rupee will always be honored by somebody. My question is, where will my cryptocurrency, which I have taken in a particular thing, who is going to authorize? Let's say if you are a part of the blockchain and you disappear, then what happens?
So nothing happens actually. You don't just disappear. You can take and you can transfer that particular cryptocurrency to the money, the money or the currency to a certain place. So let's say you said if Ganesh and Shankar runs away. So yeah, in your case, again, it is centralized. So it is more of like private blockchain. So blockchain has two parts. So private blockchain has a block and a public blockchain. So blockchain is again not very efficient if it is just like private blockchain. It is no means you can anyways manage on the basic sheet of paper. But when it comes to the public, like bigger public, so in that case, it was not possible previously. So that is why it is a bit difficult to understand that it is not possible for a single person to authorize it. So there are a lot of validators across the network. So a lot of validators are across the network, and who get these rewards we were talking about. So they validate your transaction. Every transaction is validated automatically from their computer that, okay, this transaction was moved to this transaction was moved to this. So there are certain algorithms, like a lot of deep algorithms written. And for example, if I was that validator, so I had that code on my machine. Somebody was a validator, somebody had the code on their machine. So as more and more validators comes in, it is lesser the chance of the fraud.
Just to help the kind of question or the situation, it's ultimately there are 2-3 things mentioned here. One is the value of anything is based on the rarity of it, like the gold, the rarity of it, or the effort that goes into mining it or finding that particular item. If there's too much of work you need to do to create something, then
exactly.
Third way something gets value is based on the return that it will give. So actually, from my point of view, as a question I would like to ask, or more of a comment, because I think it is pretty easy to understand. Bitcoin is rare. It is accepted by many people as that it's holding value. So, it is increasing in value. So whoever gets in can make money within a period of time. But there is no guarantee, as in anything, there is no guarantee. You buy real estate today, tomorrow it can lose value because there is no demand for it. Same way, Bitcoin also can lose value. There is better value in Bitcoin because there's unlimited number of people on the internet connected who is following this and who is putting money behind it. So there is some intrinsic value. But at the same time, it is like we also call it, it's in my opinion, every share market. So you buy Reliance shares, Reliance is making some money on its own, then there is a return of a dividend or something that's coming. You have rupees, you can give that rupee to somebody who will do some business with it and give you a return. Whereas with Bitcoin, you can't give it, it doesn't give you a return. It's like gold, like you said. Gold also, you have it at home, it holds value because of the rarity of it, but it doesn't give you a return in terms of an interest or anything, or rent or anything. But it goes up in value because more and more people feel that it is a rare commodity, and less of it is available, and it is, it is shining and it is interesting, so people like to have it. So Bitcoin is also having that kind of, it's all ultimately a bit of a psychological game, but at the same time, even gold is a psychological game. We have all been, party to that psychological game. So there is money to be made if you get in at the right time and get out at the right time. There can be collapses, huge collapses that can happen. Now, Bitcoin went up to $65,000-$70,000, I think, in the recent last month or so. Now it has come down to $35,000, so it's come half the value. So somebody who would have thought, oh my God, it's come to $58,000, $60,000 and put money into it, might have lost half of their money by now. But at the same time, I remember in 2011-12, when somebody told me about Bitcoin, and I laughed it out, to be honest. And somebody said, oh, I made so much of money on it. I said, these are pyramid schemes. You would put money and you would, and at that time it was $2, $3 or something like that in 2010. If I had put that money, 58,000 times, I would have been richer. So exactly. It's ultimately, it is when you get in and when you get out, you have all these risks, and these risks are there in any asset that you buy. Here, it is something that is very interesting because it's on the internet, and it is all based on data. It is very difficult for people to decipher and understand. But there is huge amount of people that's following, millions and millions of people who are following this. So that gives the strength to this whole market. Ultimately, if it is only 500, 600 people who's following a little pyramid scheme that's been made in Sri Lanka or India, and that itself will go off. Here you are talking about millions of new people who would keep coming in. So naturally, this thing will continue to grow up. So, I mean, that's my little observation. I don't know how helpful that is, Akash. So please do strike off anything that I said which is irrelevant. That's my little observation. Thanks.
Yeah, wonderfully explained. I wish I could explain like that.
Akash, just a question over here. Do you have time?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I'm Shankar here. I just want to know, you mentioned one thing that nobody controls Bitcoin. It's a peace thing. But one thing which surprises me is when it crashed 50%, if nobody is controlling it, you mean to say that 50% of the whole world took a call at one go and withdrew from it, or how did it happen? Because it's never happened in history. And all of this is happening at one go. If somebody doesn't have a control behind it, and all minds are able to think the same way at one particular time, that is something which, I'm not able to understand. Can you throw some light on that?
Sure. So what happens, Shankar, that maybe people, there are people who, it is a perceived value. It is not a value. So for example, gold is just a metal, just like aluminum or something like that, much better in terms of the qualities and all of that. But yes, it is internationally understood that, okay, there is certain value goes in to create that gold, to mine that gold out of the land, right? So just like that, Bitcoin is something that, as Ganesh said very rightly, that in 2010, only 500 or 1,000 or maybe 10,000 people believed that, okay, this is good. But today, millions of people are believing. Now, how can it cool down suddenly? So it happens again because of the FUD. Like on the one side, there was, for example, in one side, China said that, okay, we are going to ban the cryptocurrency. On the other side, there is Elon Musk saying that, okay, I'm taking out. This is not a good currency too, because there is a lot of work goes in. So just think from that perspective, from the bigger perspective, that Elon Musk bought at, let's say, $30,000, got into the market, it reached to $60,000, and he sold it off. And ultimately he came out, okay, this is a bad currency. So when it fell, so he again bought. So that's how bulls and bears. So that is the game. I guess you understand much better than I do.
So this is exactly what I'm saying. Somebody is controlling it, like Elon Musk.
So Elon Musk made money out of thousands of people who were innocent and got in at that late stage, and they lost the money. He actually robbed the money out of those people. But however, this is the same thing that happens in even stock markets.
Yeah.
People boost up, and then people buy at a higher level, and then they lose. So each one has to be careful about their own money, whether they want to put into this. Second thing is whether they have the knowledge and the time to invest into something new like this. That is also very, very critical, because this is completely new language. How to deal with this.
Yeah. So, and
Thank you.
as Shankar, you said that previously it has not been up, there has not been just like that. So a lot of my friend, and in fact, some amount of money I also lost. So 80%, it came from $20,000 to $3,000 over here. You're getting me? Like $20,000 it was here, $3,000 it was here. So it was just in the like in the time frame of 3-4 months. So yeah, it happens. It definitely happens, and it will happen now as well. So don't be surprised when it happens that, okay, now it's gone. So at that time, this is the time when it is falling. So at that time, with my little understanding and little experience, so when it is falling, so at that time it is good to buy. And ultimately, if you are thinking from the long perspective, so there is no harm in buying at even at the peaks. So because it is ultimately in the long run, it is gonna go up. But if you're trading, so certainly it will hurt you.
Akash, this is Gautam. I want to ask you one question. Now, you said crypto is not regulated by anybody. And from one side, I hear the news that China is coming up with their own EUN coin, So basically, on one side, China is saying that they don't encourage cryptocurrency. And on the other hand, they are coming up with their own coin. And how is this going to affect the crypto business when it comes to government regulation in future? Basically, even India, they say, is going to see that it is regulated in a regulated fashion. People are buying cryptocurrency, And what I hear is that whatever money that you make on crypto is taxable, and you have to declare it on your return. So most of it is coming into the mainstream, and it is going to be regulated in a way where it will become a currency where people will carry on their phones or on their laptops, and they can probably trade in the future, and it will bring up the future of crypto business. Am I right or wrong?
Totally right. However, you asked that China is on the one hand, they are saying that cryptocurrency is not regulated, and on the other hand, they are bringing their own currencies. So if we talk about, let's go one step back. So for example, previously you might have noticed that there were like a lot of spams coming from the promotional programmable SMSs. Like SMS, you got companies, the promotional SMS from the companies, and everyone could write a basic script and just could send the SMS to anyone, like from their promotion thing. But in the recent past, what has happened? There is a thing called introduced called DLT. So distributed ledger technology. I am not really sure exactly the full form, but it is using the blockchain, so that if Airtel is the platform, or if Jio is providing the platform, so in that case, everyone can ultimately work together to use on that certain same blockchain to manage those records. So similarly, for example, in case of banking, so currently SBI is holding their own system, SDFC is holding their own system, but tomorrow what happens? They manage all of the records on blockchain. So that's how increase of improvement of the blockchain things comes in. And when it comes to the regulations, so even just like you and I don't understand it all. If anybody is saying anything, just a second, I'm muting. Well, just in case you have any doubt, so please ask me. So yes, just like how you and I are also trying to understand and learn that, okay, what is this whole thing is all about, like blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and all of that, all these regulations. So even government is trying to understand, and there is a committee they have formed, and ultimately they are guiding the governments to make the strategies for how they can improve the future digitalization, for example in terms of real estate. So real estate blockchain has got amazing use. But when it comes to the trading part, so people are making a lot of returns out of it. So it is just like how stock market. So I bought certain share at certain value, and if I got a 200% return in a couple of years, so in that case when I take it out, so obviously it is the profit is taxable. Or in case of real estate also it is taxable. So just like that, in terms of crypto as well, if I make certain profit, so it is taxable. It is even today even possible is there. So if there is a KYC involved with, even if you form account on CoinDCX or any of the exchanges, so there is a KYC which is mandated by the government.
Akash, just I don't know whether anybody else have any questions. Would you all like to ask? Otherwise, I have one last probably question. Anybody
Please.
has any questions? Because we are already 7 o'clock.
Yes, Ganesh, I just want to ask on Akash. Now, you have every currency is going for digital currency. As Gautam said, China is going. So within say 5 to 10 or 15 years from now, few countries or all the countries may go for digital currency. My question is, when compared to those digital currency which all the countries are going to come up with or might come up with, what will be the legitimacy of Bitcoin from now to the next 10 or 15 years? Bitcoin or other currencies, when compared to the government currencies, because they have the digital currency, they might have some base to print this digital currencies. But what is the base for Bitcoin when compared to this government currencies? What will be the legitimacy of Bitcoin and other currencies? Can you just comment on this, say from 5 or 10 years from now?
So blockchain is in itself is supposed to be decentralized. So it is not something that any government can change that, because government who are governments? We are forming the governments, and ultimately these are like small powers when it comes to the bigger population. So Bitcoin in itself will hold the value, in my opinion. Again, like it is my opinion. Bitcoin will hold the value because it has got the acceptance and in people's mind that okay, there is certain value which has went in. So just like how again repeating the same thing, it is that, and it is just like how gold, there, even if there are a lot of fiat currencies printed and USDs are printed, even then gold has got certain value because of the people perceive that value. So that is how Bitcoin will have the impact on the other cryptocurrencies. So it is going to be the digital gold, and it will hold that value.
Just
in the
a
coming
minute.
years.
Can I speak here for a minute?
Please. I did not.
First thing we all have to understand: cryptocurrency is not.
Excuse me, who is this? Can you identify yourself?
Kamal Puri is my name. I'm based in Dubai. I run an educational establishment and various businesses.
Thank you for joining. Yes, please go ahead.
See, first thing we all have to understand: it is not a currency; it is an asset. Now, 80 central banks have applied already for digital currency. In the next 2 years, you will see 40 of them will be, minimum 40 will be getting their own digital currency. What is happening in the world? First thing is digital currency, which China has already started. Many are in pipeline. Number two, you will see that IMF is coming with SDR, because dollar is dominating and there are many countries, they don't prefer dollar. For example, Russia, China, Iran, others are not preferring dollars. They want to go away from the dollar so that no sanction can be put on IFC through IFC code. So what will happen to the cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency technology is excellent. Blockchain is bound to work. So nobody can dispute on technology. Today, SEC, even in US, is going to regulate this. And that is why you see currency goes up, the assets goes up and down. Now the question comes, it has already gone in a tune of $2 trillion. You cannot retrieve back. In future, you will see this assets will remain. But every country slowly wants to float their own coins. The coins will come while using the same technology. So it will be very competitive. As the gentleman said while talking in the beginning onwards and giving a presentation, it will be demand and supply basis. The prices will fluctuate. These are my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kamal.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Otherwise, would like to ask a final wrap-up question and finish the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I think there's nobody else. So, final question, Akash, is okay. It is confusing. It is very technical, but whatever said and done, it makes money. So, how would one get started with this? Will you be able to give a very quick guideline as to how somebody can start doing this? And in terms of funding it, in terms of opening an account, the practical side of getting into it. Of course, each person have to look after their own interest in putting their money. They should put only amount of money that they're ready to completely lose. But having said that, how would they do that? That's the question.
Okay. So as I said, like for the users in the worldwide, so when Binance is accepted, Binance is the biggest exchange of the all, and CoinDCX is the one of the best Indian exchange, like one I personally trust. So these are the exchanges you can go and you can buy or trade or invest the money on. And you don't, again, like if you're going to invest a lot of money and if you're holding for a longer term, so you don't need to exactly buy and ultimately let that money be on the platform. You can take it out and on the leisure. So there is so this is the digital wallet. You can hold, it is just like pen drive, and you can hold it with you. And so there is no exchange or it is not connected to internet. So tomorrow nobody can steal or take out your crypto. So that is like for 5 to 10,000 rupees, a couple of these devices. So definitely worth it if you're really like looking to put for the longer term. Now, I have like posted this particular link, like this documents link in the chat. I'll be doing this again, just for the reference. Now, over here, so you can you can directly go to Binance or you can use my link. So if you see, you can either go to CoinDCX, so you can register register and log in over there, or you can create the account on Binance, register and login. And once you do that, you are asked to do the basic KYCs. So because that is mandated by the government of India. And once you do the KYC, after that you can deposit certain you can buy in INR or you can transfer in any USD if you want.
You can use your bank account and transfer, or you can use your credit card and transfer, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and after that you can trade just like how you do on the stock markets and everything. Yes, that's okay. So yeah, you can do the basic trading from here. You can buy the crypto and yeah, I guess there are like a lot of videos for each one of them. I guess it is good to this is how the trading looks like. You can buy any currency from here and sell the currency from here. So it is just a very basic thing. If you are already with the stock markets, and I guess most of the people are there, so yeah, you will understand it very quickly. And the good part about this is just like how in case of stock market. So I guess tell me if I'm wrong, but I guess only intraday trading only intraday trading limit orders are allowed. But in this particular case, you can set up the limit orders for unlimited time. So when you have bought, so you can just for the every 10% increase, you can put a sell order, or when you are like selling. So in that case, you can for the buy order as well. So you can do all of those things. So a lot of interesting things once you get into it. So yeah, I guess
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Anybody else?
Excuse me,
Sorry,
one-
Mr. Girish Pant. Yeah.
Sorry to bother. Just one question, just clarification.
Please introduce yourself, Mr. Girish Pant. I'm sorry, I don't know you.
Yeah. This is Girish Pant. I'm from UAE, Dubai, and I'm a social worker in Dubai. And just have a small things that as everybody has asked this cryptocurrency that everyone that China is making. So and I recently I have heard about that many people are making their own currencies. What is that? They will compete to Bitcoin, or they will, like if you are in pharma or industry, they will make the coin for your industry. Like that, they will replace the cash. They will put the bit as a coin in your industry like that. Just I heard about it. I want to clarify whether it will replace the Bitcoin or anyone can make the currency. Like as you said, there is no rules and nobody is controlling. Then like tomorrow I can make the currency, the coin like that.
Yeah. So first question, just how fiat could not replace the gold. It is not going to exactly replace the currency, but sit besides it. So the government
Akash, you should explain what fiat is. I think people may not know what fiat is.
Okay, fiat is any INR or AED in your case, like whatever the paper currency we use. And second question, can you make your own coin? Yes, the blockchain technology which I showed on the slides. So over here, so yes, you can create the blockchain network, but that requires certain specifications. You need to have a peer-to-peer network, cryptography knowledge, again, consensus algorithm you have to set. Again, rules and regulations you have to set. And ultimately, even after that, if that doesn't go up, like if your coin doesn't, it doesn't pick up in a lot of people, so in that case, it doesn't matter. Like it is like all the efforts are wasted. So yeah,
I'm
so
sure
it's
there
just
must
like,
be millions of people who would have created similar to Bitcoin, which have not really picked up. It's only those who actually get accepted by the market that gets valued, right?
yeah, exactly. Like you can create Ola and Uber today, and it is like creating Ola Uber versus creating Ola Uber ka app. So it is two different things. So you can create the app certainly, but if people don't accept and people don't exactly come up on your market or your platform, so it doesn't matter how good the platform is.
Okay, thank you so much, Akash, and I hope it was useful. And once again, this is a very interesting and a piece of information we should all know about. I don't know whether you should put money behind it. That is entirely your choice. And by all means, don't put your life savings behind it. Only put what you're ready to lose, as in any investment. But something that we all should learn and know about. So thank you once again, Akash. Thank you, Ashok, for bringing Akash in our midst. And thank you for all joining in such great numbers. Any other comments, Akash?
Yeah.
Otherwise, we can close the meeting.
Thank you, Akash. This is great. I'm very happy to see people from Dubai, especially a close friend of mine, Girish Pant, who's been a social worker, also known as the Bajrangi Baijan of UAE. He saved thousands of lives in Dubai, and he's known very well, renowned all over the world. Thank you for joining, and all the other members, Mr. Kamal also from Dubai and India. It was a pleasure to have you all on board, and hope to see you next month too. We have many sessions like this.
Mr.
Thank you.
Pradeep Pant and Atul Agrawal also, I think, joined from Dubai, and some people has left. Thanks to all who joined from Dubai, and thank you, Shankar Bhai, for your kind words, and thank you, Ashok ji, to give me a opportunity.
Thank you, Akash. Thanks for all your done. Thank you, Akash.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
It is a great pleasure to be in your in your group and discuss these technologies. So this is gonna be good. However, I would love to connect with all of you guys.
Akash, if you allow me, can I post your mobile number to my group so that if they have any relevant questions to be asked to you on personally and how to open this business, can they talk to you directly?
Please, no problem. No problem. You can do that.
Can I share your number?
Yeah.
So I'll share Akash number on our WhatsApp group. Anybody has got any other questions to be asked, you can ask him directly.
Thank you, Ashok ji.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Akash.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.